a Christmas miracle, dude. It's so funny because I was looking at my window, but I was like, it kind of looks like maybe it's snowing outside. That would be great on Christmas Eve. Yes! When there's stuff like this in the house, I never get this kind of stuff for myself. Oh man, that is thick. What do they put in this? Locust bean gum. It's too cold, but I'm going to my dad's house. Today is Christmas Eve. Oh, I still haven't wrapped those gifts yet. It stopped snowing and it looks like a rainy mess, but at least it's not raining. Oh, I should have filmed some of that lunch. It was really good. Going back tonight, got some editing to do. And up next, we've got the number 9 best game I played in 2017. Okay, number 9 on the list, Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age. Man, that is a beautiful steelbook. Okay, so this is actually a re-release. The original game came out on the PlayStation 2. This is the steelbook for that. I felt like I had to include this though just from how much I enjoyed it. When me and Andrew were editing the Germany episode, he was over at my house and this game came in the mail on one of the days that we were working. And I just took like a few hours when the game came in to just play through it. And oh man, I love this game so much. I think one of the things that I really like, which is kind of a weird thing to say, is just navigating through the menus. It just feels so crisp and I feel like I'm so in control of what's gonna happen with the characters. There's a system called the Gambit system where you basically assign commands to each character and you say, if this happens, do this. If that happens, do this. It's very simple, but it makes it so that if you set it up properly and you know which enemies you're gonna be facing, you can just go through and just like, you feel so competent. Like, that's a weird word to use, I know, but you really do feel competent at what you're doing. People complained that it was basically like playing itself, which, you know, I mean, you don't actually enter any commands, but you're doing all of that work ahead of time. I really love the visual design. I love the voice acting.
Who are you? I play the leading man. Who else?
Balthier's voice is the same voice as the guy from the EDZ in Destiny 2. He is a great voice actor. Actually, this time is the second time that I'm playing through it. And I was hoping that I would really understand the story and play through it all in one go, but I got sidetracked or something, so I can't remember what happened in the amount of time that I've played it so far. The story isn't super intriguing or original, but I feel like it still feels really fun to watch as it unfolds. And you feel like there's all these machinations going on behind the scene, like somebody's gonna double cross this person and this. And in the end, I can't tell you a single thing that really happened in the game, but it felt like something cool was happening, which for me, honestly, that's kind of just half the battle. If it feels like it, great. So the improvements to the game. The big thing is that they added a fast forward button, which this kind of gives more credence to the fact that the game plays itself. But if you set up all your gambits ahead of time and you know where you're going, you can just breeze through the maps as your characters just destroy everything and gain levels. It actually addresses my biggest complaint with the original game, which is that it was just too long. I kind of talked about this with Persona. The sweet spot for me for an RPG, 30 hours. That's great, it's nice and long. I feel like I really got invested in the characters, but it doesn't feel like it's just dragging by the end. When I played it on PlayStation 2, it took me over 60 hours to finish the game, and that was way too long. With the PlayStation game so far, I think I'm over halfway through the game, and I'm not even near 60 hours. And I think it's just from that fast forward button, it really helps. Also, since the game is so massive, getting from story point to story point a little bit faster kind of helps with story comprehension as well. But other improvements, the graphics are much better, and the new soundtrack sounds great. It's not that much different, but it's a lot cleaned up and it sounds really good. Unfortunately, they didn't improve the voice recording quality. The original game suffered from like some weird compression issues.
Spare us your quiddities.
Yeah, but he's
A traitor, I know.
Which is a real shame because you'd think that a voice recording studio would have the top of the line stuff, which they probably did, but I know for sure that in the original PlayStation 2 release, they used Sony's like A-Track 3 compression techniques. And I think it was just Sony forcing it on them to use that because I don't think it was a space issue. There wasn't that much voice in the game. And also Final Fantasy X sounded substantially better. But yeah, it is a re-release. I didn't finish it, but of the games that I played this year, it was one of my favorites and definitely deserved to be on this list. I do want to finish that second playthrough that I've been working on, but I don't know when I'm going to get back to that. So yesterday I talked about one of the biggest surprises of 2017. I also want to talk about some honorable mentions that for whatever reason I didn't put on this list. One of them is Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. I just said that name and I was like, is that actually the name? And I looked at it, that is actually the name. If you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, kind of what I was talking about earlier, that a story doesn't really have to make sense if it makes me feel the right things. The Kingdom Hearts story is so labyrinthine and complex and probably nonsensical, but I love it. I just love it so much. Like the weird things that happen and like all of these crazy characters and everybody has all these weird motivations and like one person is another person because they're like, they got turned into something else and they became another person. It's just really weird, really cool, really awesome stuff. But anyways, what was cool on this one though was that it came with a prologue to Kingdom Hearts 3, which is the next big one for PlayStation 4. This is a game that Kingdom Hearts fans have been waiting forever for, myself included. But it was really nice to see like next generation Kingdom Hearts graphics. It played a little loose, but you could tell that this is just like their first experiments because like the actual controls weren't very tight. But it was really cool. You got to see some new story bits that I won't spoil here, but you could actually see me play it on the vlog. I was at Brian and Andrew's house. We were working on some video. Played through it in one night, but it was a great 1 or 2 hours that I got to play it. I felt like that had to be on here, but I couldn't put it in one of my top 10 spots because it was only like 2 hours and it's just like a preview basically of what a full game will actually look like. But anyways, tomorrow we will talk about number 8. And as for a clue, we waited a long time for this franchise to finally show back up. And let me tell you, it came back in style. It was a fantastic playthrough. We'll talk about that when I get to it tomorrow. That was number 9, Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age. Number 10 was Persona 5. Number 8, tomorrow. Hey, do you have any wrapping paper in the house?
There was some gold wrapping paper. I think it was on my desk, so it's either standing up by the front windows, by that thing that has the plants on it.
Oh, I'm standing right next to it.
Okay.
So this is just going to be wrapped as is because that's always fun. I mean, she'll probably be able to guess what it is, or maybe not. Who knows? Her gifts are ready to go. You know, this is totally unrelated. This is the camera that I just used to shoot the video game thing. And right now I'm using my other camera to film this. You know, I'm gonna get a lot of people who will disagree with me on this, but competition is terrible for consumers. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that competition is terrible for everyone, and it puts us in the complete wrong mindset of making actual real progress. Each of my cameras has something that I really like about it, but wouldn't it be great if as a human race we could decide that things are more important than making money, and companies could just be like, why don't we just combine our forces and make a camera that shares technology? You guys have probably seen the review I did of this camera and my other camera, and both sides accused me of being a fanboy for the other side, which I thought was funny. But I would much prefer to not have to have 2 cameras. I would love to just have one camera that does everything that I need it to do. But I just don't see how competition benefits me. People say that it pushes companies to like, one company will do this and then so the other company's trying to match them and they'll do that. What if we just got out of the mindset of trying to compete with each other and said, if one company did this, be like, oh, you guys should do that too. Here's the technology for it. Like if there was a fundamental philosophical difference in the way that you make something, taking an example of like phones, for instance, maybe one company thinks that screens are more important than battery life and another company thinks battery life's more important than screens. What if those 2 companies work together? And instead of making one phone with a terrible display and great battery and one with a great display and terrible battery, you had 2 different models from the same company. One with really good battery and then a slightly less good screen. I don't know, it's just like, I feel like we've been brainwashed to think that somehow competition like breeds excellence. Now, you can argue with me on this next point all you want, but nothing will change my mind. What breeds excellence is humans working together. Full stop, bar none. That is what has created the best things in human history. Now, you might point to the space race and say that, oh, we got to the moon because we were competing with the Russians to try and get to space. For one thing, we all would have gotten there sooner had we just all worked together and shared technology. For another thing, we've gone to the moon, but for some reason we haven't gone back. Like, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, and I don't actually believe that this is an actual conspiracy, but why have we not gone to the moon with a camera just as good as this? Like, you don't even have to bring a better camera than this. This is not that much weight. You put it on the space shuttle, and then film every square inch of the moon. Do you know how much I want to see what the moon looks like in high detail? I want to see somebody walking around vlogging the moon. That's something I want to have happen in my lifetime, and it's not going to happen because we spend too much money on other things and not space travel. That's another tangent, but anyways, I'm going to go to my dad's house. We're going to probably not open these yet, but we're going to play some video games. Just a random thought. I was playing video games with my sister, and it's so funny how kids, they just know so much less than what you know. It's weird how much you take for granted when you have a conversation with another adult, because all these things that you just take for granted, they say why or how come, and it's like, oh right, you just have no context for that. And there's this one person I know who, they're quite a bit older than me. I don't know, I remember being like a teenager and they were in their like 30s, I think. They acted like they knew everything all of the time, and I was like, I guess just once you get that much older, you know a lot more than a teenager. But like when they were like 33, which is what I am right now, and I think about the things that they talked about and acted like they knew, turns out, I don't think that they actually knew anything. They were just a know-it-all. So no matter what age they are, they're gonna act like a know-it-all. But one thing that I hope that I don't do on this vlog is act like I know what's best for you. I will not deny for a second that I'm constantly telling you what I think and that I know this or I think that. But as a viewer, I never want you to think that I'm trying to tell you how to live your life, because I can't live your life for you. You know what's best for you way better than I ever would, and I'm just sharing the knowledge that I learned and experienced. And it may or may not be the right thing. It's just what I think is possibly the right thing for me at this current time, in this current day and age. So anyway, tomorrow's Christmas Eve. Going to my brother's house. Good times. Thank you very much for watching today's vlog. I'll see you tomorrow or the day after, because tomorrow's Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas.